You know, listening to music is kind of like a character build in an RPG. Some people go for the min-maxed DPS build, which is, I would say, the death metal listeners, while others do like the well-rounded tank character build, which is kind of the metalcore listeners. And then you have the people who listen to country music exclusively, put all of their points into strength and nothing into intelligence, and those are the people, I don't know, you like to keep them around as fodder, right? Welcome, nerds, to the Clips channel. If you are new here, then let me welcome you to the Clips. This is a smaller portion of a much larger video that happens over on the main channel. It's a series I like to call The Week in Nerddom. This right here is the music section. We are going to be talking about music-related things, tours, new music, reacting to videos, just regular news in the music news section, all of the things. Super excited to have you here. Let's get into the news. This week's music follow-up and corrections don't really exist. We have nothing to follow up on, nothing to correct. Apparently, I got it all right the first time, so let's just move on, shall we? So let's talk now about some new muse. We have New York hardcore crossover thrash old-timers, Murphy's Law, are back with their very first track in 24 years. This makes me feel old. Name of the track is Go Jimmy Go. It is available on all streaming platforms currently, and it's very likely to end up on whatever record they're currently working on, which will be the follow-up to 2001's Party Crasher. Kind of makes you miss the days when punk was more about smashing stuff and less about needing a comeback narrative, right? Next up, we have Max Cavalera's current new project, Cavalera, not to be confused with his previous new project, Cavalera Conspiracy. The current new project has released a new song in collaboration with Capcom's Street Fighter VI. It wasn't good enough last week when we had a popular metal vocalist doing a feature on a song to promote a video game. This week we have a popular metal, well, popular being kind of loose by comparison, a popular metal band doing a song themselves in order to promote a video game. This one is titled Pile Driver, once again from the band Cavalera, and it sounds exactly like a song written by Max Cavalera. I don't know what you expect out of this. Moving on to genre that we don't cover a lot on here, though I'm trying to branch out a little bit more because I do listen to other music besides just metal and the occasional rap stuff that we cover. This one is a country tune. Speaking of bands who can't help but sound like themselves, Zac Brown Band has dropped 2 new singles. First one being a song called Hard Run featuring Marcus King. Second one being a song called The Sum featuring the Lumineers. Both are teasing the new record from Zac Brown called Love and Fear, which is dropping December 5th. It's more of that southern rock vibe with a little side of soul. Kind of like if your barbecue got just a little bit too introspective. And then rounding out the new music section, for anyone who still has their studded belt from 2004, I have good news. Story of the Year is back. They're putting out a new record. That's right, those guys, the emo, screamo, whatever the hell you want to call Story of the Year. The dudes from the early aughts who were actually part of that subgenre that were mostly listenable, honestly, putting out a new record. Just announced it is called Arson, A-R-S-O-N, which means all rage, still only numb, because of course it does. Hitting February 13th is when this record drops. It is going to be out on Sharp Tone Records. The lead single is obviously out now. That's why we're talking about it in new music and not news for upcoming music. It's all guitar riffs, and there's a breakdown in there and a lot of introspection and maybe a little bit of emotion that's probably not necessarily called for in this instance, but you know, it's the good stuff. It is actually pretty solid, I'm not gonna lie, especially if you are still chasing that Page Avenue high. You know, it's easy to call yourself a music nerd, but Can you back it up? Do you want to wear something that separates the true connoisseurs from the edgelord soy boys? Well, that's where this comes into play. It's our new music nerd shirt. It features the one and only Lon Chaney version of the Phantom of the Opera from the 1925 film, and the text is written in a font that is so brutal as to be almost illegible. It is honestly the perfect combination of highbrow horror history and lowbrow guttural noise. You will definitely confuse your parents and your normie friends and then attract a whole different breed of weirdos, which, if you know, you know. So go to generally-nerdy.creator-spring.com and wear your nerd cred on your chest. Next up is something of a revival for the tours and festivals section, because this section has been kind of neglected the last couple of months. But first up is a transition piece, if you will, because this is the announcement of a new record from Pussifer. That's right, Maynard James Keenan's other side project. This is the project that features Matt Mitchell and Karina Round. They just dropped their first album. It is out now, or are dropping their first album in 5 years, sorry. The name of the record is going to be Normal Isn't. It is coming out in February, so like I said, upcoming. My apologies for the confusion. February 6th to be specific. It's got, some interesting gothy elements, which is kind of what you come to expect out of Pussifer, but also just kind of also joke music, if I'm remembering their back catalog. It's been a while since I listened, so please bear with me. Definitely has darker electronics, which is, par for the course here as well, featuring guest spots from the likes of Tony Levin and Danny Carey. And they're also touring, which is why we're now in the touring section. They're also touring North America beginning March 20th in Vegas, runs through May 14th in Los Angeles. Tickets will drop soon. They are not currently available. So if you are into weird, aggressive vibes, then this is probably going to be right up your alley. Next up is actually a bit of a double announcement as far as festivals are concerned. The very creatively named Sick New World has grown, it would seem, grown enough in popularity and just general awareness of the festival. So now there's going to be two. We have official word. There's going to be a Sick New World in Texas this year. The two versions. The first one is going to be the Vegas one, which happens. This is their third year running now, I believe. System of a Down and Korn are going to be headlining. The show will be April 25th of 2026. It'll be that whole weekend, which usually it takes 3 days, I think it was previous years. It's going to be on the Las Vegas Festival grounds. It's also going to feature the likes of Bring Me the Horizon, Danny Elfman, Acid Bath, and just a gigantic list of performers, as is the usual for this festival. But then we also have the Texas edition. So I just lost my place in the notes. Big new metal revival. But there's an inaugural Texas. There we go. Inaugural Texas edition, headlined also by System of a Down, and this time Deftones is going to be the second headliner. It's going to be October 24th of 2026, so approximately a year from now. It is taking place at the Texas Motor Speedway, also featuring Slayer performing Rain in Blood in its entirety, Evanescence, Prodigy, Marilyn Manson, Knocked Loose, AFI, Ministry, Mastodon, Power Trip, and a ton more. These are definitely more than just new metal vibes like we've kind of previously gotten in years past, but definitely the 2000s called and said that we're cramping their style with this festival. Staying in the vein of festivals, we have another one called the notes are a thing for a reason. There it is. The Above Ground 4 Charity Festival in Los Angeles. Recently announced Corey Taylor, Billy Idol, and DMC, as in the DMC from Run DMC, all have been announced. There's a number of others. You can find the link in the description if you really want to go check this one out. It is happening in LA, October 26th at the Fonda Theater Theater in Hollywood. It is a charity event for mental health awareness and unaliving one's self-prevention. It is honoring the New York Dolls and the Cars. That is a mouthful. New York Dolls and the Cars albums with a stacked lineup, also featuring Rick Springfield, Sully Erna, and quite a bit more. To their credit, this is the rescheduled date because they were originally supposed to happen while the Los Angeles wildfires were happening, which, you know, that's probably not a good time to do this since they had to raise money for the wildfires. So now we're raising money for mental health awareness. And then speaking of previous decades calling and wanting their music back, we have a very obscure band from the 90s called Shudder to Think. How would I describe Shudder to Think? It's post-rock and they're very avant-garde, but somehow they got a record label deal in the 90s and were played on the radio, but they make music that honestly sounds like if Dillinger Escape Plan made alt-rock instead of metal. That's kind of what these guys sound like. Anyway, they are touring the US for the first time in 17 years. This tour starts October 23rd in Boston, ends November 11th in LA. That's happening right now. This is not 2026, it's 2025. They are celebrating 30th anniversary of their record, Pony Express. And it's really sweet if you're really, really into pop that sounds like it came from another dimension. And then, to round out the tours and festivals section, for those people who like their music with the side of banjo, we got the lineup for the Railbird Fest, which is happening June of 2026. Tyler Childers with the Lumineers, which sounds like a pretty interesting combination, not gonna lie. They are going to be headlining. We also have other acts, Zach Top, Camp, Mount Joy, Sam Barber, and a bunch more across 3 stages. Again, June 6th and 7th are the dates for this. 30 plus acts on 3 stages. Tickets go on sale today as I'm filming, so probably, hopefully yesterday as you're watching. There's definitely a lot of extra stuff if you want to do more than just see the bands. There's lots of premium perks because obviously it's festival in modern day, and that is the way the music industry works. So if you really want a VIP package, you want to meet some country music stars, as it were, though I don't know if Railbird does like the stars. Tyler Childers is definitely a star, but in a very different, whatever. I'm rambling. It's cool. Go check it out. Let's move on. Okay, so we're rounding into regular ass news, and we're starting off. We actually have 2 bummers this week. We had 2 deaths. We had 3 deaths for the entire episode last week. 2 of those were in music. We have 2 more passings this week in music. First and foremost, by a long shot, is Sam Rivers, bass player for Limp Bizkit. Bass player, heartbeat, just driving force in the sound of those nu metal grooves that honestly is one of the big reasons why I even got into music. The man has passed away at the age of 48. As of writing the script for this episode, not much had been said as far as the cause of his passing, though I am now seeing preliminary reports saying that it had to do with complications from his liver transplant, which happened in 2017. This is what happens when you party too much, kids. If you blow out your liver from too much alcohol, it kind of comes around to bite you in the ass. Not to make light of Sam's passing, because this is super heavy for me. Like as I previously stated, this man is the reason why, this band that he was in is a part of the reason why I even wanted to make music to begin with as a kid. But also, very specifically, Sam is the reason I picked up a bass. Bass is my musical instrument of choice, and it is largely due to Sam Rivers. Fred on the band's social medias, excuse me, has dropped I believe there might have been a video. Either way, there's a very emotional post about his history with Sam, how they met back in Jacksonville, Florida, and created the band of Limp Bizkit together, he and John, and then how they kind of added Wes and Lethal into the mix, and just like, it's gut-wrenching. Sam is definitely a massive loss, not only to the Limp Bizkit community, but also to the general music community at large. He was incredible. He was an epic musician and just, like I said, gut-wrenching. So we are going to take a minute to remember Sam Rivers, bass player from Limp Bizkit. And then we have another passing. So we're gonna get the really heavy stuff out of the way at the front of the new music, or the regular S news section. But Ace Frehley, Kiss, the starman from Kiss himself, has passed at the age of 74. This one was a known cause. He had a brain bleed, which happened from a studio fall as he was in the studio making music, presumably. In the studio, he fell, hit his head, and then kind of went. The family has announced that it was peacefully. He is in New Jersey, or he was in New Jersey with his family when he passed. He is a Hall of Fame musician. He has a Grammy nomination to his name. Literal rock legend. Now passed away. So it's kind of a freak accident, and it really sucks because it wasn't old age, which means we very potentially could have gotten some really cool stuff out of Ace. He's been actively releasing music for the last while, and for a long while. So again, we're going to take a moment and remember Ace Frehley. Okay, so we're gonna bring things up from depressing and sad to weird and potentially awesome. We have DJ Sid Wilson. That's right, Slipknot's DJ has started his own record label, and the first artist he's putting out is an interesting one. The name of the record label is Vomit Face Records. It is for specific hip-hop artists like Lil Bushwick. If you don't know who Lil Bushwick is, you probably know Bushwick Bill. If you don't know that name, I know you know at least one of his songs because it was in Office Space. If you've never seen Office Space, what the hell are you doing watching a nerdy news show? Damn, feels good to be a gangster. Bushwick Bill was one of the dudes that performed that song. He also, forever ago, was really close with Dr. Dre and Ice Cube. No, Ice-T. No. Good Lord. Why am I? Eazy-E. There we go. Wow, I was not remembering my rappers' names appropriately. Eazy-E, when Dre and Eazy were close, Bushwick Bill was part of that as well. Bushwick, I think, stuck with Eazy, and I'm totally whatever. Irrelevant, I think, to the larger conversation is that Lil Bushwick is his son, and he is still alive as Bushwick Bill passed a few years ago, but apparently Sid Wilson and Bushwick Bill had an agreement that they were going to do a music project together. Apparently that has evolved into a record label called Vomit Face Records. Again, Lil Bushwick, Rome Fortune is on here as well, and they dropped a track called Take It Back, which features unused vocals from Bushwick Bill. It is co-produced, bringing this one all the way back around, with DJ freaking Lethal. The record of Lil Bushwick's is going to be out on Halloween. This is a lot more of blurring of the lines between metal and hip-hop, and some legacy stuff thrown in there. This is just kind of cool all around. Let's keep going. Final piece of regular ass news for this week is the Country Music Hall of Fame has just inducted June Carter Cash, Kenny Chesney, and Tony Brown. I know I should know who Tony Brown is, but offhand I can't think of why I know who Tony Brown is. But it happened on October 20th. It's just really cool. Casey Musgraves, Eric Church, George Strait, and a bunch more did tributes to these artists. And I mean, this is just a good thing to know, I guess. Let's keep going. That puts us into our suggestion for the week. If you want a very perfect snapshot of the 90s, the metal and industrial music, like that kind of 90s, the 90s that I grew up in, then you can go listen to the Crow soundtrack, the original Crow soundtrack. It features tracks from The Cure, their Burn, that is one of their biggest singles ever. You also have Nine Inch Nails, Dead Souls, Stone Temple Pilots, Big Empty, and Helmet's Milquetoast. It is legitimately a masterpiece of an album, let alone a soundtrack to legitimately a masterpiece of a movie. It is without question one of the greatest soundtracks ever assembled in the history of cinema. It is thematically appropriate for the time of year in which we are, which is the Halloween time right before the off season, and it is your suggestion for the week.
Subscribe. That is all.
Thank you very much, nerds, for tuning in. If you want to level up your nerdy, geeky, pop culture knowledge, then don't forget to subscribe and do all of the things. Go check out the main channel, Generally Nerdy, for the larger portion. Again, you get all of the sections into one convenient video over on Generally Nerdy. The name of the show is The Week in Nerddom. Thank you for checking out this clip. We will see you next time. Before we go, though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, probably here.